Aaron Jones, during the game against the Seahawks, suffered a minor MCL sprain that's going to keep him out for 1 to 2 weeks. Which, how much they use Aaron Jones in the run game, in the pass game, in terms of him either going out for a pass or blocking, they're going to miss him. You don't want these injuries to happen, but when they do, you just hope it's not very serious and that he could be back sooner rather than later. As we were talking about in our last video, Cam Newton, who ended up playing against Arizona, we didn't know if he was going to play. He ended up playing. It was more of a question of how much of the playbook has he understand and learned in a quick fashion, and he only had one practice, but he did play. The fact is now he is going to get the key is most of the first team reps. So I think the Panthers are positioning him in a way that say he might be the starter going forward. But P.J. Walker, who did very well against the Cardinals, he's in that lining too. It was official that the Seahawks activated Russell Wilson in the Eskridge from the IR list. It didn't end up mattering as the Seahawks get completely blown out by the Packers. The first time that actually even happened in Russell Wilson's career, where the offense was completely shut out. And they said it, the last time the Seahawks were shut out was in 2011. To put that into factual evidence, Russell Wilson was drafted in 2012. He's been in the league for 10 years. And yet, he had never been shut out in his 10-year run with the organization. The Saints ruled out Alvin Kamara to a knee sprain versus the Titans. They would have needed him in a close loss to the Titans. But you want to keep these guys healthy as possible. The Browns activated Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah and MJ Stewart from while waiving defensive tackle Andrew Billings. It ended up not mattering. It wasn't close against the Patriots. It was just a total embarrassment, really, on both sides, on the offense and defense for the Browns. Rams wide receiver Robert Woods tore his ACL. He's done for the year. He actually did not know he tore his ACL. They thought he just kind of banged it up a little bit. So he finished practice. Once they saw, oh no, he tore his ACL. Like, he's done. He can't play. Now the thing is, here's the truth. Everyone said, well, OBJ is going to take that position. They don't play the same position They don't have that same thing. So he's not. And the thing with Odell, he's only learned so many of the plays. There is a rumor out that he could be returning punts. It is possible. He's only going to get He's only going to get a handful of snaps tonight when they face the 49ers, but I think it'll be the best way you can bring him along in this Rams offense. Cowboys activated Michael Gallup and a surprising name, Tristan Hill. Now, Michael Gallup was on IR since the first week against the Bucks. He played against the Bucks. He ended up injuring his calf. Hadn't played since. Tristan Hill had been on the PUP list, and I was concerned. I was so concerned that I was like, Tristan Hill has not played since he got hurt against the Giants in Week 5 of last year. So he hasn't played. So he gets put on PUP list. He's out for 6 weeks because they didn't carry him through. But he hadn't really practiced. So really, this was more like a year and a half of him not playing. So we didn't know how good he was going to be. He did get in the rotation a little bit, but they didn't use him a whole lot. It's kind of just saying, hey, you got to work yourself into this thing. You're not going to be a starter if you can't do that. The Titans placed Julio Jones on IR. That moves him for 3 games. And the Steelers, it was almost a strange move because it happened. They placed Big Ben Roethlisberger on the COVID-19 list. Here's what happened. On Friday, Big Ben said, I don't feel good, I'm going to go home. So he went home, he took a nap, he got up, he said, I felt worse. I called the team up, I said, hey, I don't feel good. I don't feel any better. I'm going to go get a COVID test just to make sure. It ended up being positive. He was placed on the list, on the COVID-19 list, on Saturday, and he did not play against the Lions, who we will talk about in a future video. But a big loss for the Steelers. Now, reportedly, he is vaccinated. Depends, though, if he can play next week.